everyone, my name is Vina, aka Miss WOC Reader, and welcome welcome back to my channel. Today is National Authors Day, and I just wanted to talk about 5 of my favorite authors. So I read a lot of books, and there's so many great authors out there, and I'm always discovering new ones, but for the purpose of this video, I decided to narrow it down to 5 authors that I've read quite a few things they've written, and I really do enjoy them. Even if their books aren't always 5-star reads, they still leave a lasting impression on me. So the first one on this list should come as no surprise to you. That is Cynthia Williams. I talk about her books often on this channel. So I fell in love with her writing with her Jackson Falls series. It just had everything that I wanted in romance. There was soapy drama. There was so many issues going on with her family. Like, the family stuff was crazy, but at the same time they were close and in their own way did really love each other and support each other. I really liked the mature conversations that the couples have. She does something that I don't always see with some romance authors, where sometimes she'll just have her main character sit down and go, let's have a mature conversation and handle it. We don't always need to break up at the first sign of struggle, which is something that I really appreciate. I know a lot of us have expressed not always loving the third act breakup, and sometimes it really feels like very paint by the numbers, like they broke up just because every other book has the breakup at that point, and so they felt like a breakup was inevitable. But I like how she manages to infuse drama that's still like causing something huge and there's a fallout, but it doesn't always have to be a breakup over foolery. I really enjoy her Heart and Soul series as well. The bonds between siblings is something that she excels at, and I do want to read some more of her backlist books and see what those are like. Next one should also come as a surprise to no one. It is Elizabeth Acevedo. So she had gotten so much love in the book community prior to when I read her. The first book that I read from her was in 2020. I actually read her short story in the A Phoenix First Must Burn anthology, and I was super excited to finally get to read her work, and I just fell in love with her writing. It's very lyrical and beautiful, and she knows how to really touch your soul. Prior to reading that, I was one of those people who's like, I don't want to read anything with like heavy black trauma on page. So if it's mentioning slavery, if it's mentioning police brutality, I really don't want to read it. And she got me reading this book that was set on a plantation, and it was following a slave rebellion, and she just wrote this beautiful love story with hints of magic, and the way she wove the history and the magic and made it digestible but did not overly traumatic was something that I really enjoyed, and it actually inspired me to read more historical fiction. And I found that I really do actually like historical fantasy and how authors are able to humanize like these people, because we often just see them for their trauma and we don't always see them for the other things that they had going on in their life. So I really do thank her for opening my eyes there. And then my favorite full-length novel by her thus far has been Clap When You Land. I actually had my best friend read it, and she really enjoyed it too. We had a great conversation about the Dominican Republic because her husband is from the Dominican Republic and she has visited. And we talked about like drug culture and the gangs and just some of the things that were in the book, like the imp that was kind of terrorizing the neighborhood, that are very real to some women's lives around there, and like the anti-Haitianism. We had a wonderful discussion about it. I thought that story was so beautifully told because I really got to see both sisters' perspectives, and I like how there was black friendship, there was a queer character without making queerness her whole personality. Everything about that story was just amazing, and I am so looking forward to Elizabeth's adult book because it is supposed to be multi-generational. I think family is something she does so well of incorporating, and I can't wait to see it. AJ Locke would be next one, and I first read her, even though she does have, like, she has written books in the past. I first read her series through the book Magic Dark, Magic Divine, and I really fell in love with it. It was like the type of fantasy I was looking for, where I wanted a fantasy that was very heavy on the romance and very sexy and adult, but also like had some cool magical powers and was just fun and wasn't focused on any type of like race-based trauma. It wasn't like a heavy fantasy, it was just a cool one that I could enjoy. And I read her books on novella. She has 2 ongoing right now. One is called Vanish Witch and the other is called Elemental Inferno. And I love the world building in Vanish Witch. It's like everything I love about urban fantasy. And then Elemental Inferno, it's just like it's like a wild and crazy concept because it follows like this this main character. She is an aura who controls the weather, and she controls winter. So she can't have sex any other time in the year, because if she has sex outside of winter, she might lose control of her powers. It's just wild and crazy, but I'm eating it up. It's so good so far. I really like how she does these strong, badass black characters. They're also lighthearted and easy to root for, and I really just like her writing. Like, it gives you just enough excitement, just enough sexiness, but still it's like fun fantasy. It's the type of like fantasy romance I really enjoy. And it's blackety black. I love like how her casts are majority black characters, and they feature black romance, and the men are always hot and sexy. Next one would be Kelly Garrett, and so I've actually been reading Kelly since her first book, Hollywood Homicide, came out. So she's the first author who ever gave me an arc. Like, I had reached out to her because the book had sounded so cool, and she was so sweet about sending me this book, and I read it, and it was so good to have that representation in Mystery of the Black Amateur Sleuth. And it reminded me of those type, like, chick lit type detective stories from the early 2000s, which were what really pushed me into reading adult books. And she is super sweet and super supportive. If anybody is a author of color and they're looking to get into crime fiction, she's a great one to reach out to. She's put me on to so many great crime writers, but I really enjoy her writing style. These snappy characters. So after enjoying that series, I actually enjoyed book 2 more than book 1. And then I really enjoyed reading Like a Sister earlier this year. So Kelly, she's just one of my favorite mystery writers. She writes a different type of mystery novel that we don't see enough of, but I definitely want to see more from Black authors. So last but not least on this list is Dana L. Davis, and I had originally decided to start reading her books because I followed her when she was an actress on Franklin and Bash. She was my favorite one on that show. So when she first was releasing Tiffany Sly Lives Here Now, I made sure I requested that arc, and I really enjoyed that one. Even though it's not my favorite book from her, I liked her writing style, and then her book The Voice in My Head such a great story. She did something different, a little bit different with the terminally ill teen story that I hadn't quite seen some other authors doing, and really did make it a story about a family reconnecting and coming together. And then Roman and Jewel, which is her hip opera, that was a lot of fun. You don't always see those like fun light stories in YA contemporary, and I'm really looking forward to her latest book, Somebody That I Used to Know, which I did also receive a copy from, and I will be checking out soon. So those are all like the 5 authors that I just really adore. There are definitely many more authors that I love and I will continue to share on this channel. Let me know if you've read any of these authors and if you've liked any of their work. And if you like this video, make sure and hit that like button. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll check in with you guys soon. Bye!